So yesterday, my computer's going potty. What's going on? There's so many messages coming through. Just turned it on. Right. Yesterday, we took our. Well, I'm using a silhouette mat, but I mean this applies to all mats. All right, and we cleaned it. And if you want to see how we cleaned it, then go back to video 1, which I will link underneath this one. I'm just going to get my credit card just for 2 minutes, because everybody will tell you I am just a slight perfectionist. And if I see, because I've now got it on white paper, I can see, right? So I am just, and of course, this 1 square at the top is the one that we use most often, don't we? So there we are. A nice clean, non-bumpy mat. It's still got a tiny bit of sticky to it, not a lot, not enough to hold fabric or something under the cutting mat, but enough so that, you know, it's still got a little bit of sticky on it. But that's not good enough, and that's not what we want to do. So yesterday we cleaned it, or the day before we cleaned it, hung out to dry overnight on my little peg thing, as you'll see in the video. Got it down now. It's all nice and clean, but it's certainly not sticky. So, what do we do to make it sticky again? Well, here we go. Turn around the right way for the camera. Good old Olaf 505 temporary adhesive. Now, this is the 505 that I use for spray basting all my quilts and things like that, yeah? It's brilliant. It's repositional, which is what we want, and I have found that having used this, I know that I can do this process in 6 months' time, or what have you, because I got more than one mat, so I go through them, yeah? But in 6 months' time, I can do them all again, and I know I can get this off, and it's back to the state that we're in right now. The other one I have got, I just thought of it, so I'm just getting it out. Now, this is from Spray Stick Stamp. This is from Crafter's Companion. Designed for use with unmounted rubber stamps and much more. And it's a repositional adhesive. So it's supposed to be the same as that. But I wouldn't use this on fabric. But if you've got some of this, I'll turn it around the right way so you can read it. If you've got some of this, then I guess you could try that. I must have tried it in the past, otherwise I wouldn't have it. Or it could have been back in the days when I used to do card making and I used to use rubber stamps, you know, where you have the silicone base and then you put the stamps over, you know, the rubber stamps over the top. Anyway, so we need to make this sticky again. So, it's the hardest part for somebody who's got bad hands. It's taking things off. Now, as you can see, I've laid down paper because I do not want to get this on my cutting mat. If I had newspaper, I would use it. I don't. And also I thought it'd be quite nice if I put it on white, then you could see how clean. I mean, it's still marked. You can see all the crazy cut lines on it. It's still marked, but it's clean, isn't it? Okay. Now, we don't want to get sticky on this top row as much as, you know, as best we can. Don't try and spray this top margin, and we don't want to spray the bottom margin. What we're trying to do, and I mean, you can't get away with the size, but we're trying to keep it within the grid, yeah? So give your spray a nice shake up, and then from a distance of, how much? About a foot. And I'm going down the grid, spraying it, so that I think I got it covered. And then from a higher height, I'm just going to give it another spray. Now don't use it straight away. That needs to sit and mature for about a good 15-20 minutes. Leave it open to the air, don't touch it. Good 15-20 minutes. Okay, I'm back. 20 minutes later, I haven't touched it. It's getting stickier. So what I'll do now, because that's dried now and you can see it's sticky. I wouldn't say that's a bad mat now, but I want to give it a little bit more oogie. So again, with the spray, I wish it was coloured spray, then I can see where it's been. I just give it another spray. And what does that mean? Yeah, another 15-20 minutes, let it dry. Do not ever try and use it wet. So let that open to the air and let that dry 20 minutes. Alright, here we are, 20 minutes later. I'm just going to put my hand on it. And yeah. I see, that's sticky now. Look, I'm waving at you with it. Alright, so I've got to take my hand off it. Now, that's sticky enough. Okay. The next thing I would say to you, and I am going to put up a link and a picture and what have you. Unfortunately, look at that. Oh, let's get some cloth. My wax paper cover. Now, these are the wax papers that come when you buy your mat. They come attached, don't they? So if you're not going to use it straight away, I do suggest that you reattach that wax paper. And you might say, well, why? Why would I reattach that wax paper? And the reason for that is if you just stick it in a drawer or stick it in a shelving unit like mine, ready to use for next time, unprotected, it's going to, no matter how clean and tidy you are, when you waft fabric around and you're moving this and you're moving that, and even when you're walking on your carpet or slumping in your chair, dust flies into the air. So then dust will attach to the stickiness of this and it will erode the stickiness faster. If you put your wax paper on top, you're protecting your stickiness, right? You're protecting your sticky mat so it's nice and pristine. Yeah. Now, if you don't have, because you know, sometimes I only got one. I got 4 or 5 sheets, but I've only got one waxed back, right? So the other thing you can use, which I've got loads of, and I use to do with applique as well. That's another thing we'll come into. This is the whole point of getting you to do this, is so we can move on to fabric applique. But anyway, have you ever heard of Reynolds freezer paper? Have you ever heard of that? Well, I'm going to put pictures up so you see what it looks like, and I'll put a link underneath to you for Amazon. It's not dear. You get about 50 feet for like 6-7 quid, yeah? And those 50 feet are going to last you years and years, so it's worth spending on. But then you can cut, you can use something as a template like that, or even an ordinary piece of paper as a template. You just want an A4 piece of paper and cut a piece of this freezer paper which has a wax backing. It's not as thick as this, but it has a wax backing that you can use to protect your newly cleaned mats so that they don't fall foul to getting dusted up or losing their sticky in between goes. All right. Now, what else did I want to say to you? Let me think. The only other thing I would say to you is if, when you come to use it, your mat is too sticky. Now, you think, oh, how could it be? But oh, yes, it could be. Because remember, when we're going to be cutting out fabric shapes on here, first off, we're going to back it with, and cut it out. We're going to back it with Heat and Bond or Wonder Web or whatever you've got, right? And that's like a film coating that is going to be back on the back of the fabric. Now, we then pull the paper part off of the fabric, so then when we stick our square down in our designated cutting space, it's the Wonder Web or Heat and Bond that is attaching to this glue. So if this glue is too sticky, it could tear the Wonder Web away from the back of your applique, which we don't want. So if you find you end up with your mat is too sticky, the one way to get around that is to take your mat into the lounge, get a pillow or so, right? You know, a cushion from the lounge, and just literally get hold of this and dab it on the back of the cushion. That will allow some fibres to stick and make this less sticky for you to then use. All right, I try my best to get it the right consistency, and I think that two goes with Odif kind of works for me. And then plop on my wax paper, whether it be Reynolds freezer paper or this. Whoops. Put my wax paper over the top to protect it. Put it in a drawer. I got a little slotty place, like a pigeonhole I put it in to use, yeah? And then it's ready to go for next time. Next time I want it, it's lovely and sticky under there, lovely and clean, and it's not going to cause me any problems whatsoever. The only other thing I can think of to say to you at the moment, because I did ask a girl last night on the group, and I said to her, well, what do you pay for a mat? Because I haven't bought mats for flipping ages. So I said to her, what do you pay for a mat? And she said $37. Now, I don't know I can't remember now whether that was US, I don't know where she lives, whether that was US or Australian, but it could turn out to be as much as 20 quid for a sheet. And you may think, well, this is a 2-day process, but I am using, once you purchased, you can see, I've had this a few years, and you can see, I got loads of it, right? So that's going to last me donkeys. The 505 I already got, because I use it for my spray basting. The Reynolds freezer paper I've already got, because I do use that in conjunction with lots of different things to do with applique and other things. So for me, these are things over the years that I bought and it'll carry on. So it's not expensive, is it? So for me to rejuvenate a mat, basically, I got everything here. So it costs me a bit of time. It costs me, what did I take? Oh, I don't know, half an hour or more to clean it off, leave it overnight, and then 2 lots of 15 minutes when I sprayed it. Now, if you want to pay me $37, I'll do yours. Because at the end of the day, to me, that's an awful lot of savings, and I don't worry then if something goes wrong with the mat, because I can always bring it back to new. All right? So, there's lots of people out there who may have paid that money for a mat. Something goes terribly wrong and they got cut bits here and cut bits there, and the fabric has messed it right up. I mean, people do some really daft things, like they try and cut felt on it. Well, you cut felt on it, you're leaving behind thousands of micro partial fibres on the mat. Your mat's going to be redundant in a few weeks' time. Well, in a week's time, right? But doing this method, I know, yeah, I'll do it. Because I know I can bring it back. Like this one, see? It's practically brand new. And yet this mat must be 6 years old. At least 6 years old. But as long as I can bring it back, I carry on using it.